there, welcome to our very first Facebook and Instagram live. Now this is a very special event, not just because it is our first live streaming with the Cornwall's Maritime Churches project, no, but it's also May Day and we are joined by our research mentor, Dr. Jo Esra, who is a leading specialist in maritime history. Hello Jo!
Hi Vicky!
Thank you for joining us today.
It's okay.
So as you can tell, we are on a beach, and when I say a beach, I mean there's a very pungent smell of seaweed. Can you smell it?
Just a bit, yes.
And we wish you were here. And in the background we have St. Michael's Mount. Now for the locals, you will know where we are, but for those international and other viewers across the UK, we are in Mount Spey. And now this is Marazion over here, and we have the beaches to the left and right of us, but right now we are sat on the jetty. So where we are located right now, there is a low water causeway, and when there's high tide there are passenger boats which carry visitors to and from Marazion to St. Michael's Mount, which is just behind me. Now you're probably already getting it is an absolutely beautiful day and a beautiful place. It's actually a very well-known Cornwall area of outstanding beauty over here, and it's part of the southwest coastal path. So I very much encourage you, when you're down in Cornwall, if you are a local, to please go along and have a walk and actively become involved within this southwest coastal path. It's absolutely beautiful and boasts an abundance of historical narratives. So that's why we're here today, and we are kickstarting our live stream here today, because our project is all about converging those maritime narratives with the church narrative, something that actually hasn't happened before, and something that Jo Esra is also going to be talking about in a bit. So I did promise you very much giants and mermaid stories, and so I will deliver these all to you, especially for the families watching. Now this is such a rich area, not just for historic narratives, but also for those surrounded all around folklore. So we do have a lot of spirituality mixing around this place, and really provoking interest around St. Michael's Mount. And it's not just because of ancient age-old ley lines which is coursing underneath the sea through the heart of the mount, but also we have lots of mythologically charged stories as well. So let's begin with a 12th century story which is all about the giant cormorant, and this is one version, one retelling by the 12th century chronicler Berhoul. Now Berhoul did tell us all about Jack the Giant Killer. Now the version you may have heard, which includes of course the magic beans and the magic beanstalk and the cow named Daisy. Of course there aren't any cows named Daisy in this one, although there are cows being eaten, which isn't very nice. So we have Cormorant, who is a giant who is inhabiting this island, St. Michael's Mount, behind me. Now there is a theory as well that he created this island by throwing a rock, but of course this is another version of the story in which he's already inhabiting the island, he's on his own, and this is sort of derived from an old map which projects lots of hills around Cornwall being inhabited by these terrorising giants which are going around and killing all of the livestock and terrorising the locals. And so we have our hero Jack, who I'm going to introduce now. Jack is one of the locals in Cornwall, and he decides he doesn't like this. So he jumps in a boat, he rows over to the mount, and in the moonlit depth of the night he decides to build and dig a deep pit all the way around the mount. And so apparently he's very strong because he's done this all by himself. And after doing this, in the morning as the sun rises, he decides to jump on the other side of the pit and blow a horn. And that of course wakes up the angry giant cormorant, and he comes running down the mount and he falls into the pit, and apparently that solves the story. This solves the problem of the giant. And so I don't know, it's rather ambiguous. Berhoul doesn't go into details whether or not he's died in this pit or whether or not he's just sort of resting in there, but anyway, it solved the issue. So this is just one of these beautiful stories that sort of surrounds the mountain and produces this really nice mythologically charged centre. We also have another story to tell you today, and this is all about dangerous mermaids lurking in the water. So if you just have a look out to the gorgeous sea round here, and we have these, it looks very serene, looks very nice and calm, but back in 495 AD, apparently there were some dangerous mermaids lurking around. So in order to prevent the mermaids from destroying all of the boats that were coming across this area, across Mounts Bay, and to protect and help all of the seafarers coming along here, we have the apparition of Saint Michael, the Archangel Saint Michael, appearing. And Saint Michael was also a patron saint of fishermen, and he would appear and protect them and warn them against these mermaids who were luring them to the rocks around St. Michael's Mount. So we have this apparition appearing and again transforming this area as a very much spiritual place, and it would encourage many pilgrims and people of faith to come to St. Michael's Mount and to climb up and touch the heart and the top of the mount.
Well, the heart, yes, I mean the heart stone is actually a small stone on the way up to the mount, which has become linked to this legend. But I think if I talk a bit now about the historical aspects of the mount. So the Benedictine Priory was founded on the mount in the 12th century, and this was by the abbot of Mont Saint Michel. Which is quite interesting because those kind of links between the two, although this religious link, this religious relationship was severed in the 15th century, even now, you know, the visual and cultural links between the two are kind of often confused. And I think recently a tourist publication in Cornwall actually put Mont Saint Michel on a leaflet instead of St Michael's Mount, and actually people didn't realise that it was Mont Saint Michel because of the similarities. But it was actually founded linked to Mont Saint Michel in Normandy. So the church itself, the original church, was destroyed by an earthquake in 1275 and rebuilt the following century. So the current church, and I would, you know, fascinating place to visit, although it's not actually on our list of churches we'll be examining in detail. It's certainly, you know, we can't ignore the mount. It's where spirituality and maritime history and Cornish history come together, they converge on this site. So the original church, as I say, was destroyed, and now the church that is there, the current church, is primarily 14th and 15th century. So we can see here, just want to have a look over there, we can see the causeway. I mean, we're very lucky today, we're at low tide. We can see the causeway with people walking over. And the causeway was actually built, it was commissioned in the 15th century by the first archpriest, William Morton, supported by the Bishop of Exeter. So again, we can see how this spiritual link comes in with seafaring, because it was commissioned because of the concerns for loss of life at sea. And the harbour was also commissioned at this time, which could contain 200 boats. So the harbour and the causeway were put in because of this concern for the loss of life, so there needed to be shelter for shipping. The harbour, the one we see now, it was rebuilt in the 18th century by St John St Auburn to help with the export of Cornish tin during a big Cornish tin slump in the Cornish tin industry. What's also interesting, we talk about St Michael and the spirituality around St Michael. An inventory around the time of the dissolution of the monasteries, around 1535, suggests that there's been very little change in the century before. There's in the inventory there's a figure or an image of St Michael. Quite interesting in the inventory is there's a list of coats and bonnets that are called St Michael's coats and bonnets, and some gilded belts that would suggest that they dressed up this figure, this image of St Michael on holy days. St Michael's Mount throughout the medieval period, a significant site of medieval pilgrimage. Although the church itself was to entertain the pilgrims, and there's a similar setup at Mont Saint-Michel. As a part of their pilgrimage, pilgrims would climb to the very highest point on the mount, known as St Michael's Chair, where there was a precipice of several hundred feet. So you know, this was
likely want to climb
no,
up
you
without
wouldn't.
a
It was
real-
an act of faith
Yes.
to kind of climb up there. And at some point, this was incorporated into the church building itself. And a lantern was also put in there. Again, this kind of link between spirituality and maritime history to guide fishermen and other seafarers during storms or particularly dark nights.
I think that point about navigation as well, and having this relationship with the sea is really, really important. And as you say, Jo, we can't ignore St Michael's Mount, but of course it does lead us onto other themes which really do acquaint us with the other churches in the area. So we have Paul's Church, which again, the tower was used as a navigational point for seafarers, but we also have, which is very visible, which you pointed out to me earlier, didn't you, which is St Mary's over here. And this is a later church, a later building.
Yes.
Earlier on, you were talking about there being an earlier church which was on the place of St Anthony's.
Yes, so St Anthony's Church was on the headland. I don't know whether you can zoom in enough to see it, but St Mary's Church, I mean, maybe when we do some other filming, we can kind of capture that. It's not a church that's on our list of the ones that we're specifically looking at, but again, it dominates Mounts Bay. It's very, very visible, very good navigational aid, but also the original church was actually out on the headland, St Anthony's Church. This is a much earlier church, and the headland was then known as Holy Headland, Penzance in Cornish, so that's where Penzance comes from, that term. St Mary's Church dominates the kind of the key area, the area of the harbour in Penzance that was known as Sailors' Town, so it's very, very significant again within the social and cultural history of Penzance. As well, should we just mention?
Yes,
because
mention
I
the
think we need
chapel.
to mention Chapel Rock because this is on our logo.
It is indeed. So when you go onto our Facebook and our Instagram and also our Twitter, you can see we do often use a recurring image from the British Library, and this is an image of a 16th century map, and actually it shows this area, and it's absolutely beautiful. The vibrancy of the colours really does stand out, and I think it just it shows you in this location very, very well and how it would have been perceived back then. And so, Jo, did you want to tell us a bit about...
Well, I mean, it's interesting to say it's called Chapel Rock. It's where some of the boats go from over to the mount, and you can see there's actually steps up there. You can climb on top of the rock.
It's very busy today.
Very busy today, although it has calmed down a little bit
Yeah.
from earlier. But originally there was a chapel built on top of the rock. There's no real kind of traces of that now. But it was originally, if the tide was in, the tide was high, the sea was rough, pilgrims, it was a place to go on the way to St Michael's Mount on their pilgrimage. It was kind of a stopping off point. I suspect, of course, it was also used as a fisherman's chapel, a seafarer's chapel. Very little evidence. Perhaps, again, it's not on our list of things to look at, but perhaps in the future, you know, there's several of these kind of fishermen's chapels or chapels on a rock that we might want to look into. But again, it's where this landscape, this maritime landscape, this maritime history comes in with Cornish spirituality that I think is so important and so unique for our project.
I think it's so beautiful also to capture the cluster of churches, and this is why I think our project is so important, because it deals with Cornwall history, it deals with Cornish maritime history, it brings together these other narratives, spirituality, social, economic, political threads all together and brings us all into one. And folklore,
Which
indeed.
we can't ignore. You know, these are all narratives, although they're ahistorical in many ways. They become, you know, this mythological landscape becomes part of our history, part of how we make sense of place, and I think that's why those aspects are so important.
And this is why I decided to tell you those stories earlier about the mermaids and the giants, because of course we don't really think they happened, but they are really an integral part of a retelling of history today. And I think it does also show you how important storytelling is, and the word of mouth, and how stories have been passed down from generation to generation and really make up a sense of place and identity, especially around these Cornish coastline and the churches that are really much embedded within that community. So today was all about giving you an introduction to our threads of research and show you how fun this project is really going to be, because we're going to be getting out there. This project is all about also doing your research, of course, and going out and getting those skills in archival research, but it's also about going out there and seeing these places, having a visceral, raw experience, going out there, going for walks, walking the Southwest Coastal Path. We're going to be having a variety of different events. We're going to be setting up a summer school soon, which is going to allow you and encourage you, especially if you're a young person in the area, perhaps you're at college, or perhaps you're at the university, either Falmouth or Exeter, and you want to get involved in kayaking and swimming, in coast steering and running, and in all of these brilliant activities along the coastline, all in the name of the Cornwall's Maritime Churches project. Now the idea is that we're going to be taking as much audio visual material as possible, so bring your iPhones, bring your Androids. We're going to be taking loads of films, showing them up on our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter pages, and it's all about getting these experiences out there for everybody. So thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a great experience. Thank you, Jo, for being here and providing us with an abundance of tantalising tales around the coastline. It's been absolutely beautiful.
There will be more.
There will be more.
Yes, we're going to do some more filming.
And hopefully you're going to treat us to some walks, I think, a bit later on in the year, after your book has been published. So we'll do a bit of a promo on the book as well. But of course,
an actual launch, I think, an actual launch out at sea on a boat, I think, would be.
Yes, that would be lovely, a book launch. So yes, we are going to be encouraging everybody to get involved with as many maritime activities as possible. So please do stay in touch. If you do have any questions about today, or have any questions about any of the stories that we've been telling, or any of Jo's or my research on the project, please do send us some direct messages or post below these live feeds. That would be great. And if you want to get involved but don't know how, again, send us direct messages and we'll be happy to add you to our newsletter mailing list and add you to our avid group of researchers. Lovely. Thank you very much and have a good May Day.
Thank you.